Good evening, Ohio. James Ernest of The Grueling Truth, along with our host, Mark Fightmaster. Mark, how have the Bearcats been doing?
Well, I'll tell you what, another big win. I think we talked about this last week and just kind of expected this game to go one of two ways. Either it was going to be close or UC was going to absolutely blow them out. We talked about that, and hey, guess what? They absolutely blew them out. They beat Memphis 49-10. Mm-hmm. And then to be quite honest, it was a pretty dominant performance. Yeah, maybe not so much from the beginning, because it was, 21-10 at halftime? Mm-hmm. But, man, that second half, they just opened up, and just took it to them. Memphis didn't score. The final score was 49-10, so obviously Memphis didn't score. And the Bearcats put up 28 more points. It was a good all-around effort. Good defense, good offense. This is a good team.
Oh, definitely. I mean, to be honest with you, Memphis really didn't score in the game because there was just that one fluke play. It was like a 90-something yard. I don't even know if it was a run or a short pass, but it was small looking, and somehow it just blew up. But other than that one play, I mean, consistently UC was stopping them. Consistently UC was, all over their quarterback. Yeah, they held them down. They did what they had to do.
Yeah, they did. And, it's impressive. You're right. It was a 92-yard, like almost a little screen pass.
Exactly. That was weird.
That went. Yeah, but, they just, I don't know, James. At times you get the feeling that we're watching a special team here. And you don't want to get too excited about things. This is going to be a crazy year with the pandemic and all that and being able to play games and stuff. But, at a point in time, you start to think, man, this team's got a shot. You start looking at places on different websites, and they start talking about, can they sneak in and, into the playoff? Could they be one of the, group of five or whatever? It's, and I'm trying to think of the way I want to say it. There's going to be doubters always, mm-hmm. But at some point in time, they're going to have to realize this team is pretty darn good. Luke Fickell has established a really nice team up there in Clifton. So
definitely, it's just interesting how much more effective the passing offense was against Memphis. Yeah, and so my question becomes, is that a product of the defense that they were playing against? Or was it the offense was that much better? I think it might be a combination of both. But I'll tell you this, man, the talk on Twitter, the talk on the internet after the game was, this is the Desmond Ridder they expected. Exactly.
When he came to campus, this is the Desmond Ridder they expected to get. Now he's performing the way that he should. And it's pretty darn impressive what he what did he end up with?
21 to 26. Oh, go ahead.
He was 21 to 26 for 271 and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty solid numbers, man.
Exactly.
It's pretty solid. So I like seeing that. And you're right, the passing game is it really carried the team. The rushing wasn't bad either. But we had 200 plus yards rushing. Mm-hmm. But it's fun football. It's fun football, and the nation's going to get a chance to see it on Saturday because they're the 3:30 game on ABC.
Nice.
Yeah. So even those of us who have cut the cord get to watch it, man, because it's on regular TV.
Exactly. That is cool. That UC is going to get that chance to shine like they deserve.
Yeah.
They definitely earned it. And then the thing I thought was interesting in the game is how Ford got out there and made some big plays.
Yeah, I agree. He had 9 rushes for 116 yards, had a 48-yarder, and the 2 touchdowns. That's impressive, And then, when you're looking at the rushing stats, you can't. Doak's had another good, solid game. Can't overlook what Ridder does. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. But it's impressive. He's adding with his legs and with his arms. So it's really just a good Saturday. Was a good all around solid balanced attack.
Exactly. And that and then the depth. The fact that the defense, was able to put wave after wave of player out there to keep fresh, to be able to keep the defense going strong, to be able to be aggressive on defense.
Yeah, and that's a product of the head coach and defensive coordinator. That's the style of defense they played when they were at Ohio State, and it's the style of defense that they coached. And so they're going to keep them coming at you. They're going to recruit depth, and they're going to say, we're going to have more. We're going to have more players that are better than your players, and we're just going to keep coming at you. And so it's impressive.
Now, you mentioned this Saturday, of course. It's going to be a midday game, so, it should be an interesting one there. Should be nice weather, and going to be at UC again.
It's against Houston, who, they're 2-2. Is that right? Yeah, they're 2-2.
Yeah.
And UC is a 13.5 point favorite. Houston's a good team. I don't think they're going to be able to hang with Ohio State or with UC. Good Lord, I just said Ohio State because you can't be talking about Ohio State. Sorry, Bearcat fans. Maybe someday down the road here we might see that matchup. But we're going to just see how it goes. This is, again, and I hate to sound like I'm kind of playing both sides of the fence here, but it's going to be the same way as that Memphis game. It's either going to be a low-scoring affair for both teams, or UC's going to blow them out. I just don't see Houston having the horses to be able to blow out UC.
Oh, they're not going to. Yeah, I truly do believe it's going to be the same game, maybe even worse than this time. Because, the Cougars, they recently gave up almost 700 yards versus UCF.
Yeah.
Giving up 21 points in the fourth quarter alone. They just... Yeah, they just got off of a really ugly game. Obviously, UC just got done playing a really great game against Memphis. Yeah, it's really hard to say that there should be any concern there. It's the potential to be ugly. I'm trying to look at the box score of that UCF game because I know they gave up 21. Was it 23-21? I guess going into the fourth. So it was close. But they just imploded, and their coach Dana Holgerson, that sounds right.
The guy who used to be at West Virginia, he plays more of an offensive style of football, and so I do. I agree with you. I think it could be worse. I think we're looking like at a 56-10 or something in that range. Maybe Houston scores a little bit more. Maybe it's 56-17. Yeah, something like that. But UC, and we've seen UCF. I've seen them play this year, and they're a track meet, and they're going to put up points on people in yards. But you know what? UC's a track meet too right now, man. And I just don't see it going well for Houston. Could be a long day.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a long day. I agree with you. With UC is one of the top 15 defenses in the nation. Heck, they've only given up 2 touchdowns via the pass this year. It's just ridiculous how good they're doing.
Yeah, this again, as I said, they have built something special up there in Clifton. And I think, maybe they don't end up in the playoffs. Who knows? I was thinking earlier today, James, about their road to the playoffs. Could UC make it? Especially now that Trevor Lawrence has COVID. And is going to miss this game this week for Notre Dame. Missed the Notre Dame game for Clemson. I apologize. I'm talking too fast. And so I was thinking about UC's path. And so the way it looks, let's assume things play out the way they should. Ohio State ends undefeated. Alabama ends undefeated. And then you're going to have Clemson or Notre Dame probably with 1 loss, depending on what happens this weekend. So who do you look at, man? Do you look at let's say it's Notre Dame that wins. Notre Dame, perennially the most overrated football team in college. But let's say they finish up undefeated and they run the ACC with a win over Clemson. So you get those 3 in. Do you look at Clemson and say, okay, Trevor Lawrence wasn't there that game, and that's the only game they lost? Do we take them instead of a no-loss UC?
Probably.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I agree with you on that, because when it was announced last week that Trevor Lawrence was dealing with COVID, Rocky Boyman, I have interactions with him on Twitter quite a bit. I sent him a tweet that said, "Hey, this is just a built-in excuse for Clemson. With Trevor Lawrence being out, and if they lose to Boston College, they would probably fall very little in the rankings, because it was Trevor Lawrence was gone, and now I see that being even more so with Notre Dame. That'll be an interesting game to see. But man, not saying it's impossible, but it is going to be a tough road for UC to get to the playoffs.
I know what you mean. It's more likely a New Year's Day game versus.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I guess we're looking at a projection of them versus Florida possibly in one of the New Year's Day bowls. I think I saw somewhere. But I mean, let's say Georgia only has one loss when it comes down to it. Does Georgia get in over UC if it's in the playoffs? Does the weight of the SEC or the ACC carry more than the weight of the American Athletic Conference? And I think you and I both know.
We know
those two conferences do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, that won't even be close. I mean, that's what happened to UCF, a couple years ago when they were undefeated. They were still going to get overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you are rooting for someone to lose so UC can make their way into the playoff discussion, it's got to be Ohio State, because there's no, second powerful team from the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? But even at that, it's going to be tough.
I definitely agree with you. So switching it up, we got basketball coming up soon.
Yeah, we do. It's tough to believe, but it's also kind of welcome. Maybe get into some sort of normal with college basketball. But we'll see what happens. Coach Brandon is doing his best to build a team. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're projected fourth in the conference. They got two players that are preseason, all conference. So, I mean, it's, there's some good things going on there.
Yeah, I saw that, and God, I hate preseason polls. I mean, I hate them. I hate them with football. I hate them with basketball, because quite honestly, nobody really knows what UC has because of the age. I mean, they are a young team, man. They get this 6'11" kid from Russia, Victor Lakin, coming in. They've got the identical twins, right? We got Mason and Gabe Madsen. They're both freshmen. What are they gonna provide? I mean, even if you look at the returning players, Zach Harvey is young. Keith Williams, he's a senior. Then you got Mike Saunders coming in as a freshman. I find it hard to look at a preseason poll and say, okay, UC is the fourth best team in the conference. I think they need to let them play a little bit. Is the ranking fair? Probably. But, you got to see what happens when they roll the ball out on the court.
Definitely, I know what you mean. It's hard to be able to factor everything in with just how the seasons ended last year and all the changes to the rosters. But yeah, it'll be an interesting season. Unfortunately, it will be a season not attended by fans.
Yeah, and I mean that's the right decision. Numbers are going up, while infection numbers are going up and death numbers are coming down. It's because we know how to treat it better. Still, you got to be careful. And until there's a vaccine, there's going to be no fans at these games in college. And that's the right move. The pros do what they can because they have some more means to take care of things. They can play in the bubble or they can do whatever, but it's tough, but it's almost a little unfair to the players. But got to do what you got to do. You talked about last year the way the season ended. I think there's a reason for some optimism because James, remember how it ended? They were on a little bit of a roll.
Yep.
They were looking to. They were going to the tournament again, and this was a team that wasn't supposed to do that. And Coach Brandon took that ragtag group of players that he had and made something of it. It was. Who knows how far they could have made it in the tournament? Probably would have been a first weekend now. But it was still something to hang your hat on. So, we'll see what happens this year. It could be fun.
Definitely. We're looking forward to discussing that in future episodes of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Any final thoughts before we let the audience go?
Nah, man. It should be an easy weekend, football-wise. I don't see there being too much stress over this game. So enjoy it. Watch them. Soak it in a little bit because this is a fun team.
Sounds great. Well, for James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster, it's been another episode of UC Bearcats on the Prowl.